Hey guys, welcome back to She Shield. Brendan, keep that in. I can't believe I just said that. Welcome back to She Shield. No, my God, guys, what is happening? She Shield season 2. Oh my God, Jordynn, do you even want to do this episode with me anymore? Yes. Now you can't mess up any worse than that. She Shield season 2. Why did I make that so hard to say? All right, guys, I'm here with Jordynn of Jordynn's Outside. We met via Instagram, which is like such a cool way to meet people. I think, I get a lot of questions about social media that are like, how do you feel about having a job in social media? Like, is it really negative all the time? And I'm like, yeah, like you get your trolls and you get that content that isn't taken right by that random person. But it really has introduced me to so many incredible people in the industry like yourself. So I'm so happy we're here, Jordynn. Thank you for coming on the episode. I would love for you to tell the listeners who you are.
Yeah, so like she said, I'm Jordynn from Jordynn's Outside on Instagram. I am a mom of 2. We live here in the PNW, and I post about concealed carry from a newbie perspective. I am still very new to this. I've only been carrying for maybe 10 months now. I can't remember the exact time I really started, but I just remember it was around my birthday last year, which is like April-ish. So maybe around 8 to 10 months.
Beautiful. I'm also an April baby. So that's so cool. Are you like an Aries? Do you like look at that? Are you like a...
I used to, yeah, people? But not so much anymore.
Gotcha. Okay, very cool. I only know about Aries just because I've had so many people be like, Aries. And I'm like, yep, that's me.
Yep. I had a friend growing up who was really into that, all the star charts and stuff. And so that's all the way I really know about it.
Nice. We all need that one friend to keep us in the know. Yeah.
Yes.
That's very cool.
Compare us.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for introing yourself. I told Jordynn this before the episode, but for the listeners, first of all, her Instagram and all of her information will be linked in the show notes per usual. Those are the notes below the title. So if you'd like to check out her page while you're listening, don't leave yet because I'm really excited about this episode. Please do so. Something I really like about Jordynn's presence online is I think nowadays we all kind of are scared to be authentically ourselves. And it makes sense, right? Like social media has 2 sides. One side is this is a place where we all have a voice. The other side is holy crap, it is terrifying to put yourself out there. And something I really like about her is she shares her day-to-day life, her lessons, learning to be someone who concealed carries more authentically than I feel like I ever have. And I found your page and I was inspired by that, especially with this new year coming when everyone's like, it's 2026. What do I want to be this year? And I'm like thinking about my presence on social. I really appreciate your presence. And I think this is going to be a very special episode because we get to talk about what it's like to get into something like concealed carry. That's such a broad, just kind of topic. And I'm starting a series on YouTube soon that is how to get into concealed carry, like step by step, because I needed something like that when I started. And I really appreciate pages like yours because you're someone who, if I wasn't here today with the information I have, you're a page that I would have very much, and I still learn from it. Oh my gosh, let me be clear. I still learn from it now. But going from 0 to something, your page is a great place for ladies to land and see what works for you, especially as a mom. Like what an incredible perspective to share with people when, you take something like concealed carry that's already very daunting. And then you add on that part of your goal with it is to protect your family. I mean, talk about pressure. So anyway, I'll stop my rambling for now, but I really like that about you. I'm glad you're here. So if you don't mind sharing, what got you into concealed carry or just owning a firearm at first? Maybe we start from the very beginning, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So I didn't have like a situation. I guess most people think you have some kind of trauma or something that happens to you to make you want to start carrying a gun. But I didn't really have a situation. I think it just kind of, I didn't grow up around guns either, but my husband and I have always had them. We went shooting when we, like around when we first started dating. And even then I was like, oh, I never even knew concealed carry was even a thing. And then one day my husband did it and I got a little bit interested, but after I had my second son, I just kind of realized like, okay, I can't, it's easier to control one kid in a situation, but I can't really control two kids at the same time. So I need something to kind of help me out if I'm ever in that kind of situation. So then that's when my husband sent me, all the papers I needed to fill out, and I got my fingerprints done and I got my license. And from there, I started figuring out, where do I want to buy a holster? Who am I following that shares about holsters that are good quality? What gun do I want? All of the things that kind of just get the ball rolling from there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you make an interesting point. There are a lot of people who get into this from a place of trauma, and while it's like sad, right, that they couldn't have come in a preventative time, kind of like you have come in. I think it's really wonderful that there is this industry to catch them, right? Like there are so many more resources even now than there was when I started. And I feel like, especially on the educational side, it's not just sharing and influencing and entertaining. There are a lot of people who have that educational aspect to them, and you can tell who those people are, when you look into it enough. So I don't think we should have to come in from a place of fear. I think it's really lovely that you came in from a place of prevention, and how lucky we are to do that. You know what I mean? I feel like I came in from a place of prevention myself, and it wasn't until I had a stalker and came from a little bit of a place of fear that my gun was on me every single day and has been on me every single day since. It kind of took that thing to get me from 50 to 100, but at least I got from like 0 to 50 kind of on my own with my own curiosity. So I think you represent that crowd that's coming in like, oh man, like maybe something didn't happen, but as a mom, you're wanting to be prepared. And I can't imagine having two kids, having to like wrangle them and everything. And we talked about this a little bit before the show, but I love having friends that have kids because I get to ask all these questions and try to understand before I'm there myself as a mom. But I would imagine it would be difficult. As far as your kind of like feelings going into taking on something like concealed carry, has it been kind of challenging and anxiety provoking, or has it been more exciting for you to kind of to learn as you share with people?
I think a little bit of both, especially at the beginning. It kind of gave me some anxiety to share it with people because, like I said, I'm so new, and I was like, who's gonna listen to me? I'm not licensed. I'm not qualified. I'm just sharing my own experience. So I think that part was very scary for me at the beginning, but now I'm so used to it. And there's so many more people that are new to this than I knew, and so many more people that carry and don't, and like aren't like professionals, I guess, or experts. So that part was reassuring for me to know that I'm not the only one who is so new to this, because I think when you look up concealed carry, like on YouTube or Instagram, whatever, when you're trying to learn about it, a lot of it just shows all of the instructors and the experts, which is so great for you to learn from. I follow so many like you, but they don't show a lot of the people who are still learning and like, oh, well, this one didn't work for me, but this one did. And this works for other people, but not for you. So it's kind of reassuring to find some other people like myself and to share that are still so new to this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh gosh, there's so many directions I want to go in from here. Gosh. Yeah. You made a lot of good points. I think I actually found your page from someone leaving a negative comment, and I was like, oh, hell no. And I think I jumped in there and looked,
I remember that.
Girl, I've had my fair share of trolls, like, gosh, especially when I like left medical school for this industry, and I got some hella hate. Like I got a ton of comments about how bad of a person I was from going from an industry that like helps people to an industry that harms people. And I was like, whoa, hold on. That's a lot of black and white for such a gray thing. But I think what's really cool is what you just said. This is your journey. You're posting things as you learn them. It's not a cookie cutter, template for everyone else getting into concealed carry. You are showing what works for you. And if someone relates to you as a person, they may also want to adopt the same practices and gear. So that's really freaking awesome. And it kind of reminds me of like when someone asks me what holster brands they should trust. And I'm like, well, I've got a list of brands for you, but what if we just talked about the criteria of a safe holster, right? One that covers the trigger guard, one that fits your gun exactly, one that has proper clips for retention, let's go over like what you actually need to know foundationally. And I like that about your page. You talk about your techniques and why it works for you so that people can decide if that's also, relatable for them, and then they can adopt it from there. So that's freaking awesome. You're doing so well. I'm excited to be a cheerleader for you. If I ever see hate again, I'll jump in those comments. I've been avoidant in the past because like I have to understand that if I hate, it's probably going to come to my page. Like if I hit back. So one of my favorite comment replies is, "I'm praying for you." Because no one, did you see that one? I don't know if you saw me say that, but I was like, "I'm praying for you."
Probably.
How what was it? How wounded you have to be for, I said something like that. Like it was.
Yep. Yeah.
And I remember I was like, Sophia, like, don't go too crazy. Like, comment something that's a little bit more bite-sized, but
professional. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But I love what you're doing. You have to keep going. You're part of a very, I'm trying to say this with class. You're part of a very small group of people that post authentically and aren't led by just like marketing. And don't get me wrong, girl, like my main job is in marketing in this industry, but I also this year am starting to branch away to make sure I can do marketing without it having to be connected to my face and my brand. So that's something that like when you jump into this industry, you'll get hit with like all these opportunities. And like, as long as you are remaining who you are, you're staying true to your mission. I mean, you're just going to prosper. It's really exciting. I don't think we've talked about this. What do you do day to day? Or are you a full-time mom and do this on the side?
I am a full-time stay-at-home mom. Very lucky to be. And then, yes, I do social media. Yes, I do social media on the side. So I was able to kind of establish, how to be a mom first and then be like, okay, well, I feel like I'm ready to kind of post my journey here and just see how it goes.
I love that. Have you gotten much feedback from other moms?
Yes. A lot more, which this still shocks me. A lot more moms than I thought carry. And I had no idea. I mean, there was people around me who did. And I was like, it's hidden so well. I had no idea.
That's so funny. I love that.
But yes, it's both sides. So you get feedback, the bad side of what if something happens when you're carrying your gun, or, that's not a good example for your kids, blah, blah, blah. Or the other side of good for you. We're supposed to protect our kids. That's our job. Our husbands can't be with us 24/7. Like, that's our job to protect our kids. You're being proactive. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. As far as like negative feedback goes, there are two ways I take negative feedback. One is like, I do reflect on my content and I say like, okay, was there a way I could have framed this a little bit better to like make sure I share it as my journey? And the way that I've just been doing that is my username is Fit for Via. So it's what fits for me, which gives me this like blanket of plausible deniability. Like you're coming onto my page to see what fits for me and you're commenting that you don't like it. Thank you for the algorithm boost because nobody asked. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
I think like it's all about framework, right? Like if you can frame feedback that way, then no one can harm you. Like I don't get the stomach drop anymore. I used to get this like terrible stomach feel and I would like go to sleep thinking about a comment, and now I'm just like, it's their bad.
Yeah,
So,
it's their problem.
Exactly. So hopefully that's, if anyone's listening and they're experiencing that, just know that someone told me this too when I started. They told me that one day I wouldn't care. And I was like, no way. Like I have way too much anxiety. I'm way too empathic. Yeah. Like I'm going to care. I don't give a shit now. You know what I mean? So like now it's very different.
Yes. Exactly
Yes.
like you
Oh,
said, one of my favorite comments back is just be like, okay, well, your hate comment boosted my video. Thank you. Like that's
1,000%. And don't you
yes,
love
you
when
just
they
stop
comment
caring
again?
eventually. Yes, and it's like this long. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a page and you're like, all right, bro.
It's like,
Yeah, I
wow.
love it so much. Exactly, exactly. Um, that's so funny. Okay, so tell me this. I like that we're having the social media talk because that's actually one of the reasons I wanted to start the podcast. Like I felt it's kind of lonely, like I
Mhm.
don't think people
Yes.
realize that. Like you're talking to such a big crowd, and then very rarely do you get like these like one-on-one interactions like we're having right now. And so it can be isolating, it can be discouraging. And my hope is like if someone, especially if someone like a mission like yours listens to this podcast and hears like this is very normal, this is how it is to get started, um, then I hope they feel validated and I hope they feel encouraged from it. And that's the goal of talking about this, right? It's not to like shit on random people. It's to say that like this is kind of how that is when you want to share your journey, to help people. My joke is that you could have a veteran puppy cupcake shop and an Instagram page for it, and people would shit on you. Like, you know
Yes.
what I mean?
Anything. It's literally anything.
Anything.
Whatever they pick that day. Yeah.
Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. Exactly. So tell me this. For let's say like a mom listening, because actually I'm also a firearms instructor and I speak to a lot of moms, and it's hard sometimes without having that true perspective. They'll ask me off the bat, they'll be like, are you a mom? And I'll be like, no, I'm not. And one of the biggest themes I hear about is not only is it anxiety provoking to get into concealed carry, but there are so many factors they have to consider, like storing a firearm at home while you're getting into concealed carry,
Hmm.
introducing firearms to your kid for the first time when it comes to like safety and the concept of it, talking to your kid about how to talk to other kids about the fact that you have firearms in your home. So what would you say to a mom who's wanting to get started and is like super overwhelmed with all of these different things that she will have to consider, and fathers as well? Of course, like, your perspective comes from being a mom, but this helps any parent dynamic. So what would you say?
Well, I think you have to figure out, because you don't have to carry a gun first. You don't have to go straight into, I'm going to conceal carry. There's a lot of people who message me saying, I don't want to carry a lethal weapon. Do you have other options? And it's hard because I went straight into carrying a gun. I didn't care. I've never carried pepper spray, a taser, or a stun gun, a knife even. I've still never do. I'm trying to get better at it, but I still never do. And so I think you have to decide, do you want to go straight into concealed carry, or do you want to start out with pepper spray first, or a knife or something? And then once you go from there, you can get more comfortable and figuring out how it fits on your body. They have little pepper sprays you can fit in your pocket. And so it gets a little bit easier once you start there, I think. And then you can go and move on. Okay, am I ready to carry a gun? If I am, you don't have to go and get everything right off the bat. That's the mistake that I made. I went and got everything right off the bat, and I didn't even go shoot my gun first. And I think that's a huge important step, is going in to a gun range, renting a bunch, shooting several, because everyone is going to be different and their hands are going to be different sizes. Their bodies are going to be different shapes. They're going to like this one over this one. This person recommends this one, but you hate it. So there's so many different options, which is so nice that we have all of these different options. So go shoot several, take several days to buy it, and then figure out the one you want. And then you can go to holsters and figure out all the other ways to carry, but you don't need to jump in to carrying first. You can start with the little things.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's hard to talk about getting into concealed carry because I immediately imagine that probably sounds like putting a gun on your body, right? Without ever maybe even touching a gun for the first time, or feeling comfortable loading a firearm, or like even like how the gun works. And like if I pick it up, will it go off? Like if you're there, we're not talking about intro into concealed carry being putting a gun on your body. It starts with exactly what you said. I love that you went to the like rent guns, shoot them all kind of thing. That's a really lovely place to start. That's my go-to for people. So love that you said that. That's freaking awesome. Who showed you how to shoot a gun first?
My husband, he was a Marine Corps reservist. Okay. And so he shot some guns in the military. And then just growing up, he went with his brother and a couple other family members and friends and stuff. And so I had told him, like, I'm interested in shooting. I've always, ever since I was in like 5th grade, I was interested in shooting. I think I was in 5th grade. My brother got me a pink BB gun for Christmas because I've always been interested.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, my husband and I went to a shooting pit and taught me how to shoot. And I remember now looking back at those videos thinking, wow, my stance is horrible. My grip is horrible. And that was several years ago. So luckily I'm learning now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anytime I teach students, I start from the stance up, but it's one of those things, it's the grip itself is such a technical thing that asking someone who's never held a gun to do that and stand right at the same time is very hard. So give yourself grace. Anyone listening, you will build that out as you go. It's a constant journey. Even your concealed carry methods are going to change. I even have I have a drawer here. I call my EDC drawer. So like when my guy's looking for my keys, I'm like, it's in the EDC drawer. And it's literally just a drawer of all the different holsters for my one gun, and It just depends on like what I'm wearing that day, how I want to carry. But before I leave, always do a few dry fire reps. It works out. So like, this isn't supposed to be black and white. This is a huge gray area of life, especially because you're taking a metal object that like performs a mini explosion, right? And then you're like putting it on your person and trying to look cute. It's a lot of little things. So
yes.
Yeah. So how has your concealed carry methodology changed over time from when you started to now?
Oh, it's so different. When I first started, I was using, I had one holster and one belly band. And like I said, it was maybe around like April or May is when I first started. And so, in the PNW, it's still pretty rainy and cold. And I was able to still wear like bigger clothes, I guess, or like flowier shirts, so I could hide the belly band. And also I carry a larger gun for my smaller framed body. And so that in itself has been a huge challenge. But yeah, for probably 6 months, I only used a belly band and one holster. And now I have I think I have 5 or 6 bags that I use for carrying that I rotate out. And I have 4 different holsters now. And I added another belly band in. And so it's grown a lot because I think you have to learn, like you said, what am I wearing that day? What's the weather like? Is this going to print too much in this outfit? Do I have to change my shirt or wear a coat or a flannel over it? And so, like you said, you just got to pick, I guess, what you're going to wear that day and then the right holster that can not show too much printing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how do you manage going from one concealment method to the next, maybe day to day, or maybe even, I don't know about you, but I sometimes change my method within one day 3 times.
Yes, I have done that before. Yes. Yeah. So if I guess day to day as a mom, if I have to go to the grocery store, I like to usually wear my bag because then I have an extra pocket for my wallet and my keys. And so then I can just have my bag on me. But then if we're going for a walk, and obviously it's winter right now, so if we're going for a walk, then I'm going to wear a sweatshirt and maybe a bigger coat. So then I'll wear either my bag or a belly band if I feel like wearing that. And then later on, if my husband gets home and we want to go somewhere, or I have to go somewhere else later, I'll either switch it again, maybe to a different bag. I'm like, oh, this one's too big, I want a smaller one. Or this belly band doesn't work in this outfit, I'll switch it to this one. So yeah, there are times when I have switched like 3 or 4 times in one day, and I feel crazy doing it, but sometimes it's just how it works out.
Absolutely. That's the reality of it. And also, there's no standard for like, someone could argue, well, then how are you getting that repeatability and that consistency? And it's like, well, like, if I'm carrying it, I'm at least training with each method X amount of times a month, dry and live. I have my own built-in standards, and like, that's all that matters. If you have your own standard that involves some sort of training to help you transition from one method to the other, like doing 5 dry fire reps before leaving the house, unloading your gun, drawing your concealment garment, trying to feel the difference in that thick flannel compared to that thin t-shirt you had on earlier. If you kind of set that standard for yourself, then that's it. That's all you need. And even if you don't do that and you're in a rush, you're a freaking mom, I'm sure you don't just have to put your own shoes on, but you have to help your kids find their shoes and put them on. I'm assuming that's how that works when you're a mom. I'm not a mom yet, but anyway.
Yep.
That's a lot of stuff to do before just getting out of the house. So yeah, there is no black and white answer. And, that's the point of this podcast. It's to help people see the nuance of the industry, the resources we have, and ultimately just like have the conversation that goes beyond a 30-second reel. So really happy you're here to do that. Okay, what is this gun that's so big? I want to know.
I carry a Smith & Wesson. It's a Smith & Wesson 380 EZ.
Oh, nice. Very cool. I bought that for my mom a couple years ago, actually. That was the gun that I was like, Mom, you must have this. Cool. How do you like it?
It's been a great first gun, but I'm looking for something different now without so many safeties. I have the the grip safety and then the thumb safety on it. And when I first shot it, so I didn't buy this gun for myself. My husband bought it for me, which is I'm grateful for. But another reason why I always tell people, like, if you're getting your first gun, go shoot several, because I love mine, but looking for something different because, like I said, when I first shot it, I didn't like the grip safety on it. But now I think that it's helped me maybe get used to having a better grip on my gun.
Nice.
And then so I go back and forth. I love it.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but then I hate it other times because it is kind of big to conceal on my smaller frame. So like I said, looking for something different, but it's been great so far.
Absolutely. No, I think that's a great perspective to have. I have only shot it a few times, so I don't have that like repeat exposure to it. So I'm really glad that you shared that it's helped you with your grip. I'm someone who doesn't like any safeties. Like even when I ran my rows while, Lena was part of rows and I was part of rows, I always had my safety disengaged because I don't need one right now. I don't feel like I need one. It could be different when I have kids. That's a consideration. And I just tell women, like, if you're going to have a safety, just operate your gun with the safety when you're training. As long as you train it and it's part of your like process of drawing and disengaging it, then go for it. You know what I mean? But if you're coming to a realization that there are too many, that's totally fair. Have you looked at the Bodyguard?
Yes, that is my top one.
Okay.
That I have been thinking about getting, and I've talked to so many people about it, and so I need to just go and shoot it eventually. But yeah, most of the people say that they love it.
I love it. I have the non-safety, non-comped version because I shoot a lot of retention, and so like the barrel's already so short, so if that like blast, having a compensation on that would just like make it so much more blasty. These are obviously official words. And so I do recommend you shoot it first. I bought mine before shooting it. I just like held Lena's and I was like, yeah, this is pretty effing cool. So I just like wrote my FFL and I was like, I'm gonna need one of these. And he was like, I got you. So it's nice. It's really nice. And you can wear so many different clothes with it because it's such a small footprint. And it is small as hell. And you might get a little bit of bite from a little slide bite, but it's not the end of the world. It's part of it. And if you can wrap your hand well when you go down to the range to shoot 300 rounds, you just protect your hand, hopefully in a self-defense scenario, you don't need more than 12 to 15 rounds, so it'd be okay if you have to use it defensively kind of thing. But I think it's a great firearm. I'm very surprised. Like Lena showed it to me and I was like, 380, I'm like, I was one of those like shitheads that was like, no, 9mm, and then I was like, all right, once I actually looked into the improvements we've had nowadays with 380 defensive ammo, I was like, all right, I'm being ignorant. So I think it's really great that you're looking into that. Do you have any others you want to share that you're looking at?
I'm also looking into the Springfield Hellcat, but nice. I've gotten back and forth, people saying that they like it and that they don't like it, which that's going to be every gun. And so I need to just go and rent both of them. That's been my plan to do for a long time, but makes it hard to go to the range with 2 kids.
Totally fair. Oh gosh. Yeah. I bet that would be really hard. Yeah. Yeah, that would be really hard. I can tell you right now, I'm going to be really biased and say I have a really good feeling if you just want to pull the trigger with the Bodyguard, I think you'll really like it. And you're used to the Smith & Wesson kind of like ergonomics. What's it easy?
Yeah.
So I think you'll be very happy. I can't speak to the Hellcat. You're not even asking me. I'm just like over here like vomiting this at you. But I do have a lot of students that like the Hellcat. I need to get my hands on it. A lot of people have talked about it with me, and the whole time I'm just like, very interesting. I can't contribute. So. But yeah, good for you. And you're being a great example by saying, I just need to go pick him up and shoot him. Like if you had never shot before, I would say, yeah, maybe definitely go try the Bodyguard. But if you kind of know, if you feel comfortable with easy and you maybe don't have time to get out and try it, I don't think it would be a purchase that you would regret just because it's just so solid and it's so tiny. It has its own applications. This episode of She Shield is brought to you by Right to Bear. You've probably heard me say that self-defense is more than simply carrying a firearm. It's awareness, avoidance, and preparation for anything that is to come your way. And that's why I'm partnering with Right to Bear. They stand by defenders like you and me. You'll receive benefits like expert witness support, psychological care, gun replacement, and even protection for other lawful self-defense tools like pepper spray, knives, and even your hands and feet if you have to use them in a struggle. What sets Right to Bear apart is that they are dedicated to education and immediate legal response. In case you do ever have to protect yourself, you have access to a 24/7 attorney-answered emergency hotline so that you are never alone. What I love most, though, has to be the personal connection that Right to Bear will have with you as a member. For example, Frank, the president of Right to Bear, will give you a personal phone call when he hears about a claim being filed. That level of care in the industry is extremely rare. If you carry, train, and believe in thinking ahead to protect yourself and your family, consider getting a membership with Right to Bear. If you use my code FIT4FIA10, you will get 10% off your membership, and the link to access this and to learn more is located in the show notes of this episode, which are the notes below the title. Protecting yourself and your family should not leave you defenseless afterwards. Stay safe and stay vigilant with Right to Bear. Okay, so tell me this. You live in the PNW, and for those that don't know, that is the Pacific Northwest. The only reason that I learned a lot about the PNW is because I dated someone. I dated a cop out of Seattle, and I learned a little bit of, I went to Seattle a bit, and I was like, a whole new world. It's beautiful there, by the way. I do miss the beauty of the state. So tell me this. What is it like going from everyday concealment out to, say, a store, like you mentioned, to just going outside with your kiddos and out in the woods?
It's definitely a bit different. When I'm out at the stores or out and about when there's a lot of people, I'm a little bit more like, okay, I'm not comfortable with open carry. I know that a lot of people are. Maybe I will eventually. Sure. But when I'm out and about, I just don't feel, around a lot of people, I don't feel as comfortable with open carry. So then when I'm in the woods, and we go to the woods a lot, and when there is nobody else around, and if there are people around, they're either hunting or camping, doing the same stuff as us. So I will have mine out more, maybe just like with my t-shirt and then like it tucked behind, or my shirt tucked behind it, so I can get to it easier if I needed to. But yeah, it is a little bit different because I'm not as worried about people seeing it when there's really nobody around.
Absolutely. Yes. No, that makes total sense. So it's kind of like you have more accessibility, and that's worth the trade because there's not many people. That makes total sense. I don't go wandering out enough, but I know that I go on like the chill trails, you know, like people take their kids on these trails that I go on in Utah. I need to go on some more dangerous ones. Like Alyssa and I hiked one that was like 7 miles, and you know, I thought you would have thought I was going for like a 3-day hike, but with the gear I packed, but I still concealed because I was like, ugh, like, what if you get that one person who just like sees that and panics? So that's actually something I am growing in myself, like when I should carry a certain type of way. Have you heard of Hill People gear? I really feel like you should check them out. I feel like you would like them. I don't work with them. They won't DM me back. I don't know why. I haven't figured it out. I'm pretty cool, I think. So it's kind of rude, but no, they're super cool. I promote brands no matter what, like whether or not. I've just written them to be like, hey, we should do something. Like I really like you guys. So totally fine. He didn't call me back, but I have their like snubby chest pack, which is what I use to train and run the half marathon with Lena that we recently did. And
okay,
that's my like, do you know what I'm talking about now?
I think I've seen you wear that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it looks like it's a harness kind of deal. And then it just has like the pack in the front. There are a couple things for sure you should mod. If you get one, I would love to, let's just hop on FaceTime. I'll tell you what I did to modify mine, which is basically like I added more Velcro to the back because there's like one strip of Velcro. And then, no offense, Hill People, but like what? Anyway, and then the zipper, maybe this is why they don't want to work with me. The zipper handle is not big. It's like a tiny little zipper thing. Like you'd have to like fumble and try to grab it. So like adding a bigger zipper, pull tab. And then the other thing is like, you can put either zippers on the front side where like your wallet or your like little gels would go. I would switch those zippers over to the other side so that you don't have two zippers in the same spot.
Makes sense.
So there are ways to like, right. There are ways to stage it to make it better, but that's been my way of carrying on hikes when I don't want to like open carry, but I don't want to have to like hinge at my hips and have a gun in my appendix every time.
Yeah.
You know? Cause like, yikes, you know, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So that's cool. That's cool that you do that. Do you do like hip open? Do you do chest open carry?
No, I haven't done hip open because I don't have very good like pants that would stay up on my hip. I need to get some better like outdoorsy hiking pants with a belt.
You're real for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I thrift all of my clothes, so it's, you know, it's just whatever I see that works.
Yes. Yeah.
So I just appendix carry it. And then hopefully it stays up and works out. It hasn't failed me so far.
Yeah.
But I have been, I actually have some Invader concepts. Have you heard of them?
That sounds so familiar.
They have like the chest holster. It's open. It's an open carry chest holster. Yes, I have some of those on the way. And so I'm excited to try those out for when we go hiking and stuff like that, because I feel like, you know, the trails that we go on, because we just drive down forest roads that are near a river. And then that's how we find all of the spots. And there's never anybody there unless they are hunting or camping. So I'm excited to use those and, you know, figure out how to open carry more and just get more comfortable with it on my body being out. And so, yeah, I'm excited for those.
Yeah, that is exciting. And I think a way that I've been more comfortable with like a hip open carry or something, which I guess it wouldn't be open carry in this sense, but like if I have a jacket or a flannel, I will let that like come around it. And then the clearing for that is so much more simple than like having to grab a shirt, draw it up, and
lift it up
from that position. Yeah. So I think it's really cool that you're trying that out. I'm excited to see what you share online. Prepare yourself for the amount of people that are going to poop on this idea, but like, just do them. They don't know what you need. They don't know what you need.
Yes.
They don't understand. It doesn't matter. And also, you're here to talk about, like, there are a lot of safety considerations for open carry. Like, like if you're open carrying and you do come across a person, like, the distance you might keep from them will be a little bit different than if you were maybe concealing, or like, theoretically you'd keep the same distance. But there are a lot of things that you will do to like adjust to open carry that like just a lot of trolls aren't going to understand. But I think it's really cool, and I'm excited to see how you do it, because I'll probably like adopt whatever you try out and like. I'm really open to ideas right now with no pressure. When it comes to like, I'm also going outside more. So that's super cool. That's exciting. Nice.
Yeah. And like you said, I'm sure there's going to be lots of hate comments, but it's not always people that I am worried about. Like I said, live in the Pacific Northwest, where there's lots of animals, lots of mountain lions and bears and grizzly bears where I am. And so you just got to be aware of both. And I think that's a huge thing that people don't think about is, it's not just people, it's also animals.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's actually such a new concept to me. And to open up this topic, I'd love to tell you a story. Lena and I were out running, training for a half marathon. And anytime I wear my Hill People gear pack, I have pepper spray on. So like I told you, I keep the front pocket zippers to the left because the main access zippers on the right. And I have my pepper spray clipped and staged right in the front to where I can literally grab it like so. And well, that's now. But this time we were running. This lady's pit bull saw us running, and literally this pit bull ran up this hill. So like the place we were running at, we haven't gone back there just because it was like really rough we ran our 9 mile there. So it was a lot of like, it was pavement. So a lot harder than like a trail. And there's this big hill, kind of like a reservoir kind of thing. It might have actually been a reservoir. And there's this like hill going up to the paved path. And then it goes down into like the water that is in a reservoir. I don't know if that's a lake. All right, moving on. I'm a bad storyteller sometimes. Anyway, so we're running, and I see this pit bull, and I'm like, no way that thing's gonna like basically jump up this hill to come get us. And it does, right? Comes up, it's barking. The owner is saying like, sorry, like preemptively, like she can do it, like, sorry, ma'am, Alina is like yelling at the owner to come get the dog. I'm like fumbling in my chest pack for my pepper spray, and I grab my inhaler, like my asthma inhaler, and I'm still running, like trying to get this. Lena has turned around, faced the dog, and is like yelling at the dog. And I'm like, Lena, we need to run. And she's like, you don't run from a predator. And I'm like, and I'm like panicking. So, and mind you, we're like 6 out of 9 miles in. So it's like, we're exhausted. And like, if you stop, you almost have to stop the whole time. Like we're trying not to stop running. And that's another reason I didn't want to stop. But we had this discussion after, and she was like, have you never like encountered an angry dog? And I was like, no, but that's like why I carry pepper spray, like for that concept. She's like, yeah, if they're like a natural predator, you're not supposed to turn away. Like you're supposed to be big. And it's just not something that I like understood. So like imagine your everyday consumer of like your content being me, like I'm over here like, keep running, you'll outrun that pit bull, like, so, you'll just have to like educate people. And like, I'm excited to learn more about that through you, because, I am still so new to that. And I learned a lot that day from Lena. I mean, like what a way to learn, but, luckily she has experience living out in Louisiana and like traveling as much as she has to be able to take lead on that. But yeah, so tell me, what are the top animal threats to you? You just mentioned them, but would you go into a little bit more detail there besides men?
Yeah. Yes. There are a lot of mountain lions and bears, especially recently. We've had a lot more mountain lion sightings that are only like maybe 30 to 40 minutes from us. And then my parents have one that lives down the road from them. And so then I've seen like not seen spotting or sightings of, but I've heard about my entire childhood. And so I think mountain lions would be like my biggest fear and like maybe the biggest threat right now, because you hear about more of those kind of attacks than you do a bear. But they just had, I think, I can't remember if they did it specifically in our area or not, but maybe like an hour or two from us, which is always where we travel, like an hour from where we live, they had released some grizzly bears. And that terrifies me completely. I mean, there's no stopping, no, running away or like looking big against a grizzly bear. And probably a mountain lion or grizzly bear are our biggest threats when we're out there.
Sure. And do you ever carry a shotgun?
My husband does.
Okay.
When we go out, he brings, this is only sometimes, it depends on the place where we're going. If it's like duck season, if it's duck season, where he can go grouse hunting, then he'll bring his shotgun or 22. But yes, and we would like to get a revolver eventually, one that I can use in like a chest holster and open carry with, for like bigger hikes that we do with our 7-year-old this summer. But yes, eventually, every now and then, depending on where we go, he will bring his shotgun.
Okay, very cool. Okay, this is super random, but I want to talk to you about this because this is cool. So we talked about before this, like one of the first things you said to me was like, I'm not a competition shooter. And I was like, yeah, girl, like you don't gots to be, like you get to do competition if you want to do competition. And I got into competition shooting because I wanted to get better at handling my firearm. And what better way than when someone says, hey, you're going to run and shoot, you're like, oh, all right, cool. I need to work on some shit. So like, that's what USPSA did for me in the pistol realm. And then I've been lucky enough to train shotgun with Lena, training and planning to go to Worlds this coming November in Greece. It's been a crazy journey, but it all comes back to like, I've always been interested in defensive shotgun use, but I haven't really known where to start. Like, where the hell do you start? And pistol, there's a ton of education out there on like getting started with pistol, but like shotgun, I mean, talk about even less. And so one of my goals this year is to roll out some education on like getting into defensive shotgun use. And there's a brand I'm wanting to do that with that'll be hopefully announced within the next few months. But I was talking to my guide the other day because we went to this, there's a jet passing. If you hear a giant jet, that's because I live near an Air Force base. So sorry. It always like throws me off when I'm filming, but we went to this pawn shop and we found this kind of very specialized Mossberg 940. Forgot the name of the people that did the trigger job and all this stuff, but it's a specialty shotgun like job on their 940 platform, which is a really solid 12 gauge platform pump action, right? And I bought it because I want to hang it on my wall. Like I've never been that kind of person that like wants to put a gun on my wall, but this is the first one because I'm like, that's such a pretty gun. And my guy was like, hey, like I have one like this. And I was like, oh, what for? And he was like, I like strap this onto my pack if I'm hiking in X location. And I was like, I didn't even think about that. So there's I think it's called the Shockwave. It's the Mossberg 940 Shockwave. It's like their stockless shotgun. And I really want to get one and like rig it out for when I go hiking and stuff because I can't imagine a situation with a bear. Like talk about just having to go I can't imagine. Like what is protocol besides I know there's bear spray, but like what do people normally carry? Is it a 10 millimeter pistol? Is it buckshot shotgun?
I have no idea. I don't know anyone else who really goes and, does the kind of stuff that we do. None of my friends carry. I'm trying to get them into it. So I don't know. And I've been on a couple of hikes where we've had to worry about bears or mountain lions, but we always just bring my gun, which like I said, is just a 380. And then my husband has a 40. So those are just the things that we've brought. But yeah, if we go anywhere else, like more, deeper into the backcountry or something, then definitely going to do more research on what to bring. Obviously, bear spray and a
Yeah,
firearm. But yeah.
absolutely. Man, I'd love to it'd be really cool if you're down. If you want to come down to where I live, I'll tell you more specifically where I live off the show. But I live near Salt Lake City in Utah. If you want to come down and not only do some pistol training, but hopefully by then I will have figured out the Shockwave, the stockless one, because I think that'll be super simple to dude. I think you could just put a sling on it. I think you could put a sling on it. And if anyone's listening and you're like, wow, she doesn't know shit, I really don't. This is me guessing based on my competition shotgun journey. So give me grace here. But I would think you could throw a sling on it, have a couple rounds chambered. I don't know the mag capacity, the tube capacity on this, but I want to say it's 7. You could have a couple there, a couple slung to your body. And I would think that would be a really freaking solid setup for out there, because I really like the Mossberg safety on the 940. It's I don't know if you've seen it, but it's on top and it's a thumb safety, and it's not easy to engage. You have to be diligent. You have to engage it. It's not just going to turn off. And it's pump action, right? So you could literally load around the second you turn it. You could, and that all comes down to manipulating your gun and training with it. But I wonder if that's going to be gosh, I'd love to see you share some of that stuff. That'd be cool at some point. Sorry, really random side note, but
no, that's okay. Yeah.
Good stuff together.
Yes. My son just had a birthday, my older son. Awesome. And this whole last summer was, we would take him out to the woods and he would go and shoot. My husband's 22. He would go shooting with us and see us going shooting. And so we were kind of giving him some exposure to it. And then, we got him a 410 shotgun for his birthday. And so, yeah, he was able to get that. And so back to your sling that you were talking about, because it's kind of heavy for him. I don't think my husband was expecting it to be as heavy, and he's kind of a smaller 7-year-old. And so we're like, we need to get him a sling. And so I didn't even think about that, but yeah, some kind of sling or something so that you can still have your hands accessible for, in my case, the kids, or if I need my pistol or something.
Right. Why not? Why not? Why not? That's super cool, man. Well, that's freaking awesome. I'm excited to hear that. What is it hear about it once you look into it? Sorry, my brain we went to the next topic in my brain. So tell me this, what has it been like exposing your kids to firearms?
It's been great, actually. I was a little worried about having to teach, I was worried about being more on them about you don't touch it. It's only mamas, and obviously we're very safe. We don't leave it laying out on the counter and stuff like that. But when we go shooting, we've only taken them shooting with us a couple of times when you couldn't find a babysitter. And they love it. They love being able to go shooting with us and seeing what we're doing. And they're both so curious. And like I said earlier, my older one is so good at listening and so good at learning safety. He just loves that. It's just part of his personality right now. And so he is getting used to, not, flashing or flagging people and, pointing the muzzle everywhere. And so my husband took him hunting one time. I think it was just duck hunting or grouse hunting. And he gave him his 22 and it was completely unloaded. Nothing in the chamber, nothing in the magazine, as a test of, be safe with this, carry this around and be safe. And he did a great job. He didn't point the muzzle at my husband on accident. He wasn't, being crazy with it. And so a lot easier than I thought. We just have to keep saying, here's the rules when you are around a gun, when you're holding a gun, and you don't do this and you can do this. Eventually we'll work up to this. And so, yeah, it's been a lot easier. And my 2-year-old, he loves going shooting. He'll find a stick outside and he'll go and just pretend that it's a gun. And so, yeah, they love it. It's been a lot easier, smoother transition than I thought it would be.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. That's super cool. Oh man. my oldest sister, I was like, hey man, I'm really excited for you to come visit Utah. Like you can come stay in my place. And, she was like, Sophia, I don't know, man. Like, is it baby proof? And I was like, what does that mean? And she was like, I mean, are there like guns everywhere? And I was like, oh yeah, everywhere. And ammo and knives. You're right. It's not baby proof. We had to have like this whole thing. And she was like, listen, I could visit, but like, it's going to take you some time to prep your house. And the day will come where I can't and I don't leave loaded guns laying around. I just, like I'll dry fire and I'll lock the slide back and I'll set it down. Like there are guns around, but yeah, that's good to know. I had someone come on and talk about, gosh, who was it? I want to say it was Melody Lauer and I believe Tatiana Whitlock. They both kind of made comments on this, something about basically how to judge when to talk to your kids is less about their age and more about their maturity. Would you agree with that?
I guess it kind of depends on what topic you're telling them about with, my kids are 4.5 years apart in age. With my 7-year-old, I'm able to obviously tell him, here's gun safety. Here's the rules. Here's our specific rules. You need to follow them or you can't hold or shoot a gun for a long time. I can hand it to him and he will learn it pick it up easy, because he is old enough to know. And we were doing this when he was maybe like 5.5 and 6. But then my 2-year-old is a crazy, crazy child. Obviously, like because he will go and shoot the 22 with my husband. My husband will hold it and my 2-year-old will look through the sight or through the scope.
Aww,
and
cute.
And try to pull, squeeze the trigger if he can. But then, he can't, his brain maturity wise can't understand enough yet to know the gun safety. So I want to say maybe when they're like 4, depending on everyone's kids are different. Maybe when they're 4 is like a good age to start introducing it. We have a little rubber band wooden gun that they got for Christmas a couple of years ago. And so I was even thinking like, okay, when my youngest is 4, we'll start teaching him, you don't point it at people, you keep it down, and it's check if it's loaded. And so all the little things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Absolutely. I really like that answer because it's kind of just like, one, it's so subjective to the kid. And 2, it's like there is no rule book. Like there are some really great resources. Julie Golub actually wrote a children's book. She came on during my SHOT Show series. And that episode actually will have been posted by now. But by the time this episode rolls out. And the book is all about like how to orient parents, then orient the child. And like, it's really great that there's a resource like that. I bought it for my sister for Christmas a few years ago when she had her first kid. And yeah, I would imagine that is an incredibly nuanced area of firearms, like talking to a child about it. It's a whole different thing. So I appreciate you sharing your perspective. And I hope any parents listening feel that like that grace, towards that topic, because I'm sure it's a daunting one. Exciting but daunting, and I like your framework that it's like you're like not as hard as I thought it would be. Like that's really lovely. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. I'd love to know, how often do you train with your concealed carry setups? Like, what does your training regimen look like? Live fire and dry fire, if any.
For live fire right now, whenever we can. We don't have a huge village where we live. My mom also has 2 I have lots of siblings, but right now the ones that like need more attention are my 2 youngest ones. And so she's not always available to watch our kids. So I want to say right now we try to go maybe once or twice a month. I'd love to go more often, but we can't. We don't always have the time to go shooting to the shooting pits there. But dry fire, when I first started, I definitely didn't dry fire as much as I should. I didn't know the importance of it. I didn't even know really what it was. But now I actually have a laser dry firing system from Strikeman that I got maybe a month or 2 ago. And I have been using that, and it's been so much more fun than just, unholstering my gun and dry firing.
Yeah.
But I want to say recently I've been really bad at dry firing, but maybe once to twice a week, I will dry fire either, when my kids are watching a movie, or I'll use the Strikeman. And then, of course, every single time I am putting my gun on and about to leave our house, then I will, dry fire a couple times and make sure that this outfit works or this bag works with this coat and whatever.
I love that. That sounds like a super healthy balance of training. I really like to hear that. It's hard on my side, it's hard as a creator, and like I shoot enough, I was gonna say so many disciplines, but enough for me to be like overwhelmed when I go to the range. I'm like, well, I want to shoot my USPSA gun. I want to shoot my concealed carry gun, my shotgun, my rifle. There are so many things to train. And I think it comes down to like what your goal is. And if your goal is to primarily conceal carry well and efficiently and to feel comfortable doing that, establish a standard for yourself. There aren't a ton of standards set for people, especially in this genre out there. So set one for yourself that you can follow realistically with repeatability. And that's the only way to do it. There's no like, oh, you don't go to the range every day. There's nothing like that. So I love asking that to people that are on more of the concealed carry, self-defense, home defense side. So I appreciate you sharing that. That's awesome. That's super cool. So yes, do you have any goals going into the 2026 year when it comes to concealed carry or sharing online, anything like that?
For concealed carry, I would say maybe not for concealed carry, I guess for shooting. I want to get better at shooting, just my accuracy. When we go shooting, I'll bring all of my stuff that I use for concealed carry, my belly bands, my bags, everything. And I'll just make sure that I can shoot efficiently from there and make sure I'm getting, my hand or my shirt up high enough when I'm drawing out for my belly band. So I don't practice very much accuracy, I guess, when I'm shooting at the range, and just using all of my stuff that I use for concealed carry. So I'd like to get better at my accuracy and not just, being close to the target and like more of the defensive shooting. Just because now that I'm getting more into it, I'm like, oh, okay, this is actually, it was frustrating at first, but now I kind of like it.
Great.
And so yeah, I'd like to get better at that. And then with my social media, I would love to reach more, maybe moms specifically. I have so many women who follow me already, and a lot of them are moms. But I'd like to reach more moms specifically who were intimidated by concealed carry or just by shooting or like guns in general, and to just realize, once you can get more comfortable and confident with it, it's not as scary as people are telling you it is. Like once you just train more with it and once you carry it on your body, it's a lot less intimidating.
Absolutely. Yes, I love that. Have you tried trial reels, by the way?
I have, but when I saw that it like said, I swear there was like something that popped up and said, if it looks like something that you've shared already, they're not going to like push it out as much. Oh, and yeah, I was like, well, I share about guns and concealed carry. Right. So it's going to, my trial reel will be pretty much, very similar to like stuff I've already shared or like that I'm going to share. And so yeah. I have 3 or 4 of them right now going, but, they're just basically the same as like my concealed carry stuff. So I don't know if they're not getting pushed out as much, or they're like my older videos that I put on there to see, to reach more people. But I said last night to my husband, I was like, I need to do more of these.
I feel that. I wonder if they mean if you just repost the same video. I don't think it's the same like content, like as far as like guns or concealed carry. So I don't know, but I've been playing with them a little bit. That was more out of curiosity, but no, that's try it out. Let me know how it goes. It's an interesting concept. Instagram's always doing something fun, but okay, very cool. Gosh, we've gotten to cover so much. This has been an awesome episode. I always joke that like podcasting is my little selfish endeavor. I get to talk to who I want to talk to. I get to ask the questions I'm interested in asking. It's such a fun place to be and a fun little job to have. I'd love to know, before we end the episode, what would you like to leave the listeners with today?
Kind of just what I went off of a little bit, I guess, of like carrying and shooting a gun is not as intimidating as the people. So, you know, if you have people in your life telling you that it is, it's just not as scary as they're making it. Like I said earlier, just going to the range and shooting a bunch, or just even if you don't want to go to a range, because sometimes that can be kind of intimidating as a beginner. All the people watching you, all the other people shooting. If you have someone in your life that can take you to a shooting pit, like my husband did when I was first starting like my shooting journey, going and doing that and just learning like, okay, like you said earlier, you're holding a mini explosion in your hand, and like just saying that makes it sound intimidating and scary, and like I'm never going to do that.
Right.
And that's something my husband has always said too. And I'll never forget that. But it's just once you can hold it in your hand and realize, oh my gosh, it's not just going to go off whenever it wants to. There's so many other little mechanical things that have to happen in order for it to shoot. Then you'll feel way more comfortable to go shooting more often and to carry eventually, if that's something you're interested, especially as a mom. You know, it's our job and we want to protect our kids. And so if that's something that you are worried about, it's not as intimidating and scary as some people can make it sound, or even maybe that you're feeling like it sounds. So just go shooting one time, get comfortable with it, shoot several different guns several different times, and you'll realize that the more often you go, you'll get way more comfortable and confident with it.
I love that. Yeah, I wish I would have heard that when I was starting out. And I think it's all about framework. And so adopting a framework like the one you just said would be an excellent one to get started. So thank you for sharing that. I loved that. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool. Awesome. Well, Jordynn, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This is only the first one. I'm sure we will have many. I like to keep guest speakers coming back. I think it's really cool to see how people progress and learn and reestablish goals, you know, throughout their journey in this industry. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come on today, especially with how, you know, beautiful of a state you're in, and the fact that you're a mom and balancing what you're balancing. So I really appreciate you. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Sorry.
No. You go.
Thank you for having me. I was so excited. My husband was at work when you had messaged me saying that you wanted me to come on. And I remember because I had been following you for maybe like 2 or 3 months before you had messaged me.
Nice.
And then I posted this one video that got a bunch of views, and then you commented on it, and I was like, oh, Connor, like she started following me. And then you had messaged me like a week or 2 later, and I was like, she wants me on her podcast. I'm like, I am not qualified. I do not know nearly as much as other people do. And I always say this in my videos. I'm not an expert. I'm not an instructor. I'm just sharing my own personal journey with carrying and shooting. And so yeah, I was so excited. I was so nervous, but so excited when you asked me to come on.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's so sweet of you. And there's no, you know, the only standards I have are like, if people are safely concealing and genuinely sharing their journey and like trying to do good, those are my standards. You know what I mean? And those are actually pretty high standards. So like you've hit those, you know what I mean? And I'm really glad I found your page. I like to follow people for a while before I ask them. Like I like to see, you know, their general vibe and, you know, making sure they're staying safe, and that I'm not sending my followers somewhere where they're going to be adopting maybe bad habits or anything. But I really, like I said in the beginning of the episode, I love your authenticity, that your perspective as a mom is invaluable. Yeah. And gosh, I've loved this conversation. I look forward to meeting you. I got excited because I saw you were going to Vegas and I thought maybe you were going to SHOT. And I was like, oh, we could do this in person. But I think it's cool that this industry allows us to find each other, people that are like-minded, and it's not even political. It's just like, we want to stay safe. We want to have the freedom of safety. Like, that's it. Bang, and it's been a fun ride. So thank you so much. Thanks for being honest about that. When you were like, I listened to the podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's always crazy to hear on my side. So it goes both ways. So thank you, Jordynn. Appreciate it.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that is the end of this episode. I will have the end of the episode put in here by my awesome video editor, Brendan, podcast editor, Brendan. If you guys want to check Jordynn's page out, again, her information is linked in the show notes, which are the notes below the podcast title. If you haven't, rate the podcast, you guys. That's how we get out there. That's how we get seen. If you can hit those 5 stars, that's even better. Thank you so much for listening today, and we'll see you in the next one. Stay safe and stay vigilant.